watching that video. Hello, everyone. I'm Allison, and welcome to my weekly meltdowns coverage of BS. I've got with me this evening Beth and Tyler, who had to restart his computer because we couldn't clearly see his lip herpy. So
yeah, we wanted to make sure we can get that in HD.
I need that in 4K, liquid,
Oh, God.
HD, 3D, 4K, whatever. No, Matt Henning, don't get excited. He's coming. Okay.
Are we going to shoot this in 3D so we can like reach out and feel like we can touch it? Is that what we're going for?
No, but I don't even need to be. Anyway, so this is supposed to be like a positive show where we just tell stories and stuff. And every time Tyler like rolls his eyes or says something rude or just opens his mouth basically and speaks words to me, he's got to go on timeout and be in mute. And that only applies to him. But since he's restarting his computer, because he was looking really pixelated, and we can't have that. We need to be as professional as possible on this show.
And the funny part about all of this here too is the fact that I love trying to be positive.
Yes, me too.
When my internet isn't working and I have to be on data on my phone.
Okay.
They likely won't fix my internet until the day I'm supposed to move to my parents' house for the holidays.
Listen, Let me say something. First of all, hello to everyone in the chat. Roy the Virgo, Matt Henning, Valencia, Ethan, everybody who's in there. Thanks for joining us. I tell you what, for every negative thing someone says, they have to say 3 positive things.
Okay,
and I don't
that sounds
care
great.
if it's something like I like Thursday.
Big butts and I cannot lie.
Not lie. Right. It doesn't matter. I've got a funny story to tell about a horror film I got sucked into watching last night that has given me panic attacks, but I can't really start it until Tyler gets here because I
can't wait to hear this because what you wrote in our group chat made literally zero sense. I don't know if you went back and read that.
You should read it. Can you put... Oh, wait, let me read it.
It's on my phone. So you might, yeah. Why don't you go ahead, but read it verbatim, how you typed it out.
Shit. First of all, it's not fair. It is very fair for me to read a text that I talk text because I should read it first, but I don't. But I have a very this is hard already. I have a very thick Southern accent. And
wait, what?
Yeah, no kidding.
No, but I read that about 5 times this morning and I went, I don't even know what she's saying, so I don't know how to respond.
7:52 this morning. 7:52 this morning. Y'all, which is how I pretty much start everything. Y'all. Oh, God. I don't want to read this. It's already bad.
You got to read it. You got to read it.
But I did correct it at the end. Y'all, how is traumatized while scary made me last night? I've got to let me tell the story tonight on the show. I know it's not what the positive thing, but oh my God, I need a warm people. Okay.
Yes. What the hell?
It was that bad. Jesus.
Yeah, it was so bad. That's why nobody responded to you.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Allison's coming off a sleeping pill. What happened? What?
That was so funny.
Okay, what I meant to say was y'all gotta let me. I was traumatized by a scary movie last night. Yes, yeah. And I got tricked into watching it. Well, I didn't really get tricked into watching it. But anyway, I watched it and I'm known to blame it myself. And it traumatized me to the point where I was scared as hell last night. Like, it was bad. Like, I had tightness in my chest.
Wait, which movie was this?
Okay, I want while we're waiting on Tyler and his herpes, I want you to look at...
That sounds like a really bad band name, by the way.
Tyler and his herpes.
If we ever get to a point where we feel like rebranding, that is not the name we're going to go for.
No, I was not drunk, Valencia. It sure sounds like it, though. But I was coming off a long night of no sleep. I've pretty much not been asleep. But what happened is while we're all waiting on Tyler, who apparently has to go to frickin' Apple to reboot his computer manually. I don't know what's taking so long to reboot a dadgum computer. But I want you to look up a movie called Megan is Missing. Megan is missing.
Oh,
Oh, don't just
I won't
Megan.
say anything. I won't say anything.
Megan is missing. And then I want you to Google image it. Okay? And then we will walk through it together.
So here's what's the weirdest part about that. I've not even heard of that movie until today. I was scrolling on TikTok and somebody had done a fake sketch thing right where they filmed something and Megan is it witnessing?
No, Megan is missing.
Is missing. And so everybody was commenting about that. I was like, I don't know what that is. And now you just said that. And I'm like, is this like a thing on Netflix or something?
No, it's like trending on the TikTok or whatever. And Captain Obvious, my husband, okay, I'm going to go ahead and start and tell the story because I don't know what the hell
Go ahead.
God, is he? Oh. Anyway, so, wait, he doesn't have an Apple computer. He must have a Mac or something. I don't know. We'll drill
Mac
in.
is an Apple.
He automatically has to sit in timeout for this. This is ridiculous. How many minutes are we into this show? 6, almost 7 minutes. We're silly. Anyway, so we're silly. I don't even know what that means. That's a new word. We're silly. It means ridiculous and silly at the same time. Kind of like a herpel, which is a herpy pimple, which I also invented tonight. That was so. What happened is, Captain Obvious is obsessed with TikTok. It's a problem. It has gotten to the point where we're sitting on the couch and I'm trying to watch TV or I'm trying to have a life of some kind. And every freaking 5 seconds, it's, hey, look at this on TikTok. Oh, watch this video for 1 second on TikTok. I mean, y'all all know that person that's obsessed with TikTok and they are stopping your life to watch a video. No, mister, you have to be quiet while I tell my story since you got everybody waiting 7 minutes.
Okay.
But listen, okay, so I'm talking about this movie, Tyler, that you can actually look up if you want while I'm getting into my long-winded story. It's called Megan is Missing. It was made in 2011. It's a mock Blair Witch style kind of shot film about teenage girls meeting guys off the internet. And it scared the shit out of me. But also, you guys have to remember, I saw the Blair Witch Project in the summer of 1999 before we knew it was fake. Okay. Me and my sister came home that night and slept together in my bed with my little son in the middle of us. Okay. It was that bad. It was that bad. Scared and I'm not easy to scare like that, but it was bad. So it's on TikTok. Everybody's talking about Megan is Missing. Okay. And so Captain Obvious, who we've already established has a problem with TikTok, is like, okay, I'm going to look at this movie and I'm going to watch it. He's like, let's just watch the first 10 minutes. And I'm like, okay, the first 10 minutes. Horrible acting. And I want you to Google image it too, Tyler.
What's the movie called?
Megan is Missing.
That's what you were
Megan
supposed
is
to
Missing?
be doing this whole time. Mute. Okay. Here's the thing. I mean, see how he pays attention to me? This show's already in the shitter. Yeah. So anyway, we watched the first 10 minutes. Horrible acting. The acting is so bad. Go ahead. I don't care what you do in timeout. I don't care what you do in timeout.
Trying to talk and didn't realize he was in timeout.
You're in timeout for a reason, and you know why. You know why. Here's the thing. So we watched first minute. Horrible acting. That's what sucked me into Megan is Missing. The acting is so bad. It's like, oh my God, it can't get any worse. And then all of a sudden it takes this dark turn and you cannot take your eyes off it. And you're stuck in this abyss of like, it's getting like, it can't get any worse than what just happened. Oh, it does. It gets really bad. So bad that I'm like paralyzed with fear. We get in bed. I can't sleep. I'm a hot stinking mess. I got Chris following me to the back. I'm sorry, Captain Obvious following me to the bathroom, standing outside of it while I tinkle. And I have forbade him to get up in the middle of the night. Sometimes he gets up and sleeps on the couch for a little while because that's just something weird he does. And then he comes back to bed. Well, last night, I didn't know he wasn't in the bed with me. And okay, I'm going to take him out of timeout. But don't talk. So I'm laying in bed and I did not know he wasn't in bed with me, and I had fallen asleep for a little while. And I woke up and I had the covers all around me. I think he's in bed next to me. The bedroom door is open, and I'm laying there and I hear a noise. All of a sudden, the bathroom light outside our bedroom door comes on, and I'm like this. And I go, Chris! And I sat up in the bed, and he came flying out of the bathroom, pulling his pants up. Go, what? I go, the light was on, and I was scared, and I started crying. Y'all, I have had a tight knit, like I was like a 5-year-old, and this is not, it didn't end here. I'm laying in bed.
I just like that the scary part was that a light came on.
Yeah.
Normally it's the opposite thing.
No, it came on, and it's scary. I'm laying there. All of a sudden, 10 minutes later, my neighbor's motion light comes on outside my window. And I'm like, the motion light just came on. He's like, will you please go to sleep? Like, I can't deal with this anymore. I had a tightness in my chest, and it felt like claws were digging into my chest. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to ignore the chat. We're going to get to it. But I didn't sleep all night. I've been a hot mess. Chris is out of town today. It's already dark. He's supposed to be home soon, and I'm barricaded in my office. I have a Gatorade bottle I'm tempted to pee in, so I don't have to leave. I don't have a red Solo cup.
Well,
okay.
I guess we'll forgive.
So did you look up Megan is Missing, Tyler?
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks like Paranormal Activity, or like one of those like horror movies that's like amateurly shot. You know what I mean?
It is more along the lines, what terrifies me the most in a movie is, yes, whenever I have to tell a story, Tyler is.
Yeah, that is factual.
So what scares me is what could really happen. And what happened in this movie could really happen. And this was took place in 2007. These young girls are talking to this guy on the internet, and he meets them, and he does some really twisted stuff to them, and it's really, really bad. Okay, so
is it gory?
Oh my God.
If it's gory, I won't watch.
Okay, did you Google image it, Tyler?
Yeah.
Did you see the girl?
Yeah.
Did you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, traumatized.
Yeah.
Beth, you'll see it. Do not bring that freaking picture up during this show, Tyler. Don't you dare. Captain Obvious will freak out. Like, he's done already. Like, I'm sleeping with a butter knife and a hammer. I'm ready to go.
A butter knife?
It's not, okay, I wouldn't say it's gory. There's definitely some, it depends on what you find gory, because it has moments where it's like, oh my God, I can't take my eyes off this.
Yeah.
What is wrong with me? But there's not anybody getting cut. It's like a horror film. Nobody's getting split head, but it's just the whole,
it's the suspense
in
of
here.
It all.
Yeah, it gets in here, and you're like, it can't get any worse. But the bad acting lures you in like a man on the internet, because this is like catfish to catch a predator all in one.
So here's the creepy thing that I'm not saying this is related, because it's not, but it's just a dually creepy thing. I went to bed last night, and I know for a fact my basement door was shut, because it's always shut. Came down this morning, it was wide open.
See? Yeah.
And I had it wide open all day, just waiting to see if it shut itself. It hasn't. So I just shut it before.
I have an attic door. I have 2 attics upstairs. They're side attics with regular doors. There's one door that does tend to open by itself. And I will be sitting downstairs and hear, I'm not kidding. This is what I do to myself. I have way too much time on my hands.
Like, do you think it could be one of your 17 cats?
No, because they can't get in the attic, because they're usually all piled on top of me when this happens. So I know it's not any of my 17 cats. But I went through the video, I have cameras in my house. So last night I went through the camera footage of the living room and did the playback. And I didn't know Chris was asleep on the couch. And there is a portion of the video where he's snoring, and it sounds like a freaking moaning ghost. And My eyes got so big, so I went back and back and back, and then I saw where he went, and he slept on the couch.
Have you guys ever had any paranormal activity happen to you?
Yes, I'm touched. I know that's hard to believe. We know in more ways than one. I do feel spirits. I have been on a ghost hunting excursion. I've done stuff. I've had orbs around me in pictures. I'm not talking about insidious shit where there's an old lady behind me. You know what I mean? With a candle and a black wedding dress.
I had when I think I was probably 11 or 12. We had moved into this house that was built in the late 1800s, and our next door neighbor's house was huge. It was on like the corner of the street, and then there was our house, and there was another house, and our neighbor's house, which is on the corner, used to be the main house. We used to be the servant's house, and the house on the other side that's like next to them on the other street used to be the guest house. And we had a driveway that connected the two streets together, and all three of us shared the driveway. And I swear I had one night where I woke up, and I always slept with a nightlight up until like really only a couple years ago, not because I was scared at night, but because I have such poor vision that when I wake up, I need to be able to see something while I'm walking because I can't see. And I woke up because I got so super, super cold, and it woke me right up.
Yes.
And then I looked down, and because of my nightlight or whatever, I started to feel what looked like somebody sitting on me, and I could see the comforter lower as if somebody was sitting on me. And I just sat there for a second. I didn't know what to do, and I was just kind of looking like this. And then I felt the person get off, and I saw the comforter kind of rise a little bit, like as if something just got off the bed. And that was it. But I was like, I've been so convinced that we had like a little ghost servant in our house.
I totally believe it. And I'm going to tell you something. Okay, since we're on the subject, we don't have to make the whole show about this, but I'm here for it. I'm fascinated with this shit. Because let me tell you something. It all started for me when I was 5 years old. And I used to spend the night on the weekend on like Friday nights with my Mamby and my grandpa Gene. Okay, Gene, the Finleys were Jacob, my cat's namesake. Okay, but both have passed on. God rest their soul. Okay, my grandpa Gene was the sweetest man you've ever met. Mamby, a little nuts, but all the women in my family are a little nuts. So this was very normal for their generation. Okay, as they had separate bedrooms, which as you get, it'll make sense to some people, but he had his bedroom and he had 2 twin beds in it. And my grandma had her room with a full-size bed in it. And in the middle was a bathroom in the hallway downstairs. And we would sleep in my grandfather's room, and my brother in one bed and me in the other, and he would just sleep upstairs somewhere. And you'd get up in the middle of the night and you would use the bathroom in this old house where you could hear everything. I mean, this house was built in 1890, old, okay, 2-story, beautiful house. I started to realize that I had feelings of some kind that were like ghosts or spirits or something. I was around 5, but I picked up more not happy spirits. But when I would feel uncomfortable in a certain way, it meant I was not wanted, or it was an evil spirit, or something was going on. And this is so, my grandpa would tell me, because he was a very religious man, and he would tell me, okay, Allison, if you feel like the devil's trying to get you through a ghost or something's going on, you need to just yell Jesus. Okay, just scream out Jesus. And I would be at my grandparents' house, laying in bed. I'm 5 years old. My brother's I should have him tell this story, because he's like, I have nightmares of just you yelling Jesus. I would just lay in the bed and I would feel the feeling, and I would be like, Jesus! Jesus! Like I would just say Jesus. And that, because the devil can't stand the name Jesus or God or anything. So he just runs away and he hides, and I don't have to deal with it anymore. And I believed it. And I'm 43 years old and I'm still yelling Jesus. I did it like 50 times today. But it was so funny because I had to tell Chris the story because sometimes sporadically I would just Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And he's like, what now? I go, I'm telling you, there's a spirit. There's something in here and I don't like it. He's like, Allison, we're McDonald's downtown. I go, I'm telling you, something shady went on down here and I can feel it. Okay, so just say Jesus. Just say Jesus and you're going to be okay.
I don't think that I've ever experienced any kind of like paranormal activity, but my sister, so she had like a made up like an imaginary friend. She actually had 3 growing up. Their names were Rod, Jane, and Ebba. Not Emma, but Ebba.
Wow.
With 2 B's.
What unique names for imaginary friends.
Well, especially Ebba.
Seriously.
Like I've never heard like Ebba before in my life. And it's still like, so it's like, especially Ebba would follow us around everywhere. Like we would have to buckle her up in the car. We would have to get her a seat like at restaurants. Like Morgan was like convinced that this ghost was real. And so, when we would get off the bus from school every day and walk home, we would walk through a graveyard because that was just like a direct shot like to the house. Probably very disrespectful in retrospect, but we were kids, whatever. We were walking by this like really old gravestone from, I think it was like the late 1800s. Like it looked like very, very old. But on the gravestone, it said the name of the gravestone was Ebba. And I think she died at like 12 or 13. Like
where was this?
So it was at a graveyard that we lived right next to when we lived in Maryland. So like my sister had made up this imaginary friend Ebba, and then we like walked by a gravestone one day, and it had the name Ebba on it, and it was a girl who died at like 12 or 13.
Had she seen it before?
I mean, this Ebba, like, no, Morgan had never seen it. Like, she wasn't with me and my neighbors, like, because she was younger, like, we were in, like, I think we were in middle school when we first saw it, but my sister was, like, in elementary school. She's, like, 5 years younger than me. So, like, she was never, like, walking with us. She's certainly not, like, going to the graveyard by herself or anything. So there's no way she could have, like, seen the gravestone before we came across it. But yeah, like Ebba like really stayed with Morgan like all throughout her childhood. She was never like scary or anything, so maybe she was just like protecting her. Not all spirits are vindicative or like is trying to like do you wrong.
I actually think most spirits are pretty friendly. And I actually don't, it's not that I don't believe in negative spirits, but I kind of feel like life itself is the negative experience. And once you've passed, you're at that peace level. And honestly, it's like I believe it a lot of like, I'm going to get real. It's as if I should have had some of Tyler's weed before this, because I'm about to get real deep.
Let's get real. I'm in it.
Yeah.
I'm already completely flipped the fuck out. Nothing's going to do it any worse.
I'm a true believer that, I saw this on TikTok too, not too long ago, and it was like, it perfectly summed up how I've been trying to feel without like, I haven't had the words for it, but basically, I think that religion and science actually have a really good meeting point, and it's with energy. And I think it's with, just the idea that when you pass away, your energy doesn't just dissipate. And you think about it in the sense of like, literally your molecules are still here in many ways, right? And like you become a part of the earth again, the earth like reborn, all those different kinds of things, right? Which that involves energy of some sort. So even just in the physical sense, you have energy, right? Your soul, that's another form of energy that you have while you're alive. That can't just disappear. And if you think about all the living things that have ever passed in this world, I often believe that like that's probably what created like the Big Bang, that creates all of like these different kinds of things, which in itself is basically your energy is your consciousness. So like we are all kind of made in the quote unquote the image of God, if that's like the Christian way of saying it. Like that's somebody's consciousness, which could be a greater being like God. It could be like the Big Bang. It could be all these different kinds of things, right? So when you pass, I don't necessarily feel like it's like the energy that stays is negative. It feels like it's a balanced energy. So when I feel spirits and stuff, the reason why it's cold is because, you know, we're actually we're warm-blooded beings and those kind of things. Cold, I don't think is the opposite of heat. I think it's a neutralizer.
I'm freezing right now, just so you know.
But that's just like I could talk about this all day. And I think what I've always been scared of is like after death, if there's a nothingness, if there's a limbo, that to me is like, that's the thing that's scary. Because what would be the purpose? What is there? Why, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know if it's spirits or if it's something happened in a certain place and I'm picking up on that old energy, because I've worked a lot of film in the past. And I was working on a movie about 8 years ago, just independent film, just as part of the crew, because it's fun to do that for me sometimes. And we were in this guy's house and we were about to film in this bedroom, and it looked like it was a young man's room, hadn't been touched. He was into baseball, all this stuff. And I walked in the room, and the minute I walked in the room, I felt unwanted. Like, okay, no, whoa, I don't really want to go in there. Something's not right. Turns out the owners of the house, their son was killed by a drunk driver when he was a senior in high school, and that was his bedroom. And I didn't know that. And he did not, and I felt like he did not want anyone in his room. So that's the kind of stuff that like I experience. Like I can pick up like something weird went on or whatever. Like if I'm in an old building, I go to these little haunted mansion and all this stuff, and I pick up on stuff. Even if I don't know anything happened there, I will pick up on something. But we have breaking news. We have breaking news, Beth. Hoofsland has posted this sweet message to you. Beth, I've seen your tweets where you appreciate your friends. I just want to say that I appreciate you so much as a person as well. You deserve all the love and happiness in life. I'm so happy I get to hang out on here with you, and I send you all the love and more. That's so sweet. It's so positive. That is a positive.
Hooflin,
We're gonna do
Hooflin has been just a beautiful, beautiful person.
Do you know Hooflin in person, or?
I don't know Hooflin in person. We have met because of Twitch, and we've been friends on Twitch for a couple years now, and he's just the sweetest guy. First of all, he's a relatively new uncle, and I have to imagine he's got to be the best uncle in the whole world. But he is the sweetest, absolute, like, just gem of a person, and I'm so thankful that the internet brought us together. So thank you so much for that. That means a lot to me. I had this feeling just beginning this week that pandemic's been tough on everybody. And I'm somebody who just likes to leave little notes to people and just let them know they're appreciated. And I went, well, why aren't I just doing this publicly? Because this is how I feel. I don't, about people. So I've only done it. I didn't do it today. I had a lot of work to do today, but I will probably do it after the show. And I'm happy that, you appreciate, and it's all genuine, so I was able to express my love and appreciation for Allison yesterday. I've also done my friend Susie and my friend Sam. And so I'm just kind of whoever kind of pops up to me when I'm thinking about doing it is the person I go with. So.
Well, that was very beautiful and very sweet. Thank you, Hooflin. We appreciate that. And it's all true. We love Beth. Beth seems like you wouldn't get possessed by Satan.
You'd say
she's the one that survives the horror movie. You think?
I'm that stupid. Listen, I'll be that stupid white girl, okay, that goes and investigates. Like, did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? I will be that girl. Tyler's going to come after me because I haven't come back. And Beth's going to be like, fuck this. I'm out of here. No, not going to happen. I'm
the girl who goes, you're getting in the car and we're going, or I'm leaving you here.
Beth, who do you think dies first in a horror movie, me or Allison?
I gotta say you, Tyler, because I think Allison's the star who inexplicably makes it to the end.
Okay.
Like, that's what I feel. I actually think, honestly, I'm probably the first one out of the three of us to die. And I think that you're the one who's like the non-believer for a while, and then he just gets the axe, and then Allison's just going, ah! I think that's Allison.
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah, I've seen too many horror films, Dateline NBC, episodes of Snapped. I mean, all of it. I know. And I'm watching this movie last night, and all I can think is, this could really happen. And meeting people off the internet that you don't know it was a catfish before catfish. I'm obsessed with the show Catfish, by the way. Like, my son and I, that's our thing. We watch Catfish. Oh, and by the way, I'm not allowed to use his name anymore. I'm supposed to call him Spider-Man because he got mad at me for saying, because he's not like me. He's not out there doing although he has a YouTube channel. Anyway, so Spider-Man and I love to watch Catfish. And we're always amazed at how, and I don't want to say stupid, but they're stupid. Okay, I don't get some of the stuff. I met a guy off the internet in 1999. Okay. I met him at the mall by the carousel, a crowded area. Okay. I was 22 at the time. He said he was 21. He was really 19. His name was Kevin. Okay. And we ended up eating at and I was just like, whatever. I can't do this. I'm not going to, I'm freaking 22. I'm a mom. Why am I meeting people off the damn internet?
Well, my question is, like, what website at 1999 was like for dating? Like, I want to know what that is.
Chat room, okay? It was an AOL chat room. And I honestly believe it probably had something to do with the Blair Witch therapy group I was in.
Meanwhile,
at the time that I found.
I feel like a Blair Witch chat room is not like the place to find like a fellow suitor.
That's right.
Yeah, here we go. We need to talk about Kevin. Have y'all seen that movie?
No.
I just watched that last week. Listen to this shit. Ezra Miller, he's an amazing actor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I knew he was an amazing actor, but this was made like in really the beginning of his blossoming career before Wallflower, that movie, What Perks of Being a Wallflower.
The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Yeah. Very good movie.
Psycho. Oh my God. What a great movie. But yeah, we need to talk about Kevin. But granted, that kid probably wasn't even born yet when that movie came out. But I freaked myself out. Like, Chris was continuing to get on TikTok last night, looking up shit about Megan is missing. And I'm like, get off Satan's toy. That is Satan's toy. TikTok is Satan's toy. And get it out of here. Turn it off. I'm not dealing with this shit. And he's just laughing at me. And I'm like, seriously, I feel like I have pins in my chest. Like, I don't want anyone coming in this house, kidnapping me and putting me in a barrel with another dead body. That's the kind of shit I'm watching last night.
So what is it about you and TikTok? Like, what is so, like, what really turns you off to TikTok? Because I want to seek understanding. And I want to say this, like, a lot of my best friends, they are also very anti-TikTok. And I don't understand it because, like, some of my best friends will send me Instagram stories of TikToks that were like funny like a month or two ago.
I sent you a TikTok.
And I'm like, this was funny 2 months ago, but like I've seen it, you know?
Okay, well, first of all, I am on TikTok, the Memphis Darling. Okay. My husband, Captain Obvious, has turned to making TikTok videos of me and posting them. I've sent you guys a couple. I don't know if you watched them or not. He caught me farting once and he posted it. He caught me gagging at cat vomit and posted that. I mean, it's one thing after another. What I don't like is when someone sends me a link and I open it and it's hilarious, but as soon as it's over, it hops over to another video of something else I have nothing to do with, and it's loud as fuck. I mean, all of them are loud, and it's just, I can't get out of this Jim Bob shit. I mean, it's just something crazy pops up. Like, and I can't even get out of it. And I don't really, there's some funny stuff. Like, this is who I follow. And this is a shock to no one. I follow cats. I follow these cats whose parents use the Alexa talk text to translate what they're saying. And once again, I say Alexa and she does her weird shit. Okay. Which has been freaking me out all day. Just giving me notifications when nothing has arrived. But I don't have a problem with it. I don't like it when I've got it feeding my husband ideas of movies he needs to watch that are going to emotionally rape me. Because I'm fucked up right now. I'm not even going to lie. That movie messed me up. Look it up. Megan is missing. I'm telling you.
Have you seen the Shanann Watts documentary that's on Netflix?
Oh, gee. Yes. With the husband? Yes. Chris
That
and
was
I
a really
actually
good one.
Let me tell you something about this nut job. This guy is so stupid. What he did was horrible.
Mhm.
Killed his wife, his unborn baby, and 2 daughters. I mean, that really messed me up. But the video, when he got called, when he was at his neighbor's house,
Yeah.
and he's backing his truck up, and
Mhm.
he's taking something, and he starts sweating. And actually, my husband took some kind of class in college where he studied human
Body
behavior
language.
and body language.
Yeah.
Like Captain Obvious can tell you anything, and he's always right. And he's watching this guy, and he's looking at him. He's like, "Oh, he's so busted. Look how he's acting. Like
Yeah.
he's all of a sudden he's closed off, and he's doing this, and he's looking around, and he's so nervous." And then when he leaves, the guy says to the cop, he's never just talkative. Like he never gives
Mhm.
up more than, anything. So
Yeah. Well, what I really liked was, so like at the end when like they have them when they have him in the interrogation room, and like she's about to give him the lie detector test, and she's like, the great thing about this is like one of us knows the truth, and after this test, both of us will know the truth.
Oh, heck yeah.
And you can just like feel like his presence just like come out of his body, and like it was just like a masterclass in like how she like got him to crack. It was so good. And I just like I love that. Like that is like such like masterful manipulation. Like she should play Big Brother, because I guarantee you she could like easily win a game like that.
Anyone who operates a lie detector machine
Yeah.
needs to be on Big Brother, because she was telling him over and over again. Oh my God, this is so funny. Thank you. That is, I usually get the Weezer character, Shirley MacLaine. So this is actually a compliment. Anyway, thank you.
I love Dolly Parton's character in Steel Mongolia.
Oh, she's so good.
Great.
That whole movie is so good. But like this woman, she's just like, and he takes it anyway. That is when because Chris, I asked him, I'm like, could you beat a lie detector test? And he goes, as good as I am, Allison, I could not beat a lie detector test.
Yeah.
He goes, there's just something about it. You cannot beat it. He's like, it is very rare that someone who fails a lie detector test is telling the truth. And like, we've practiced it. Like he'll put his hands on my wrists and he'll ask me questions, and he can tell when I'm lying, when I'm telling the truth. And I will change my breathing, and I'm trying to like manipulate, and it just doesn't work. But yeah, that guy, and he wasn't the cat's meow either. And, and he's having an affair with another woman, and it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyone who kills a little girl and strange, you just nasty. You trash.
Yeah. I was very hooked on that, because I had like never heard of the case before watching the movie, and apparently it was like a big deal like 2 years ago. But I guess I just had my head under a rock or something.
I saw the whole thing. You should have told me you were watching that.
I think I did.
Did you?
I think so, yeah. But no, it was very good. And I love like a good like murder mystery type of thing. What was the JonBenet Ramsey? That's always like my favorite murder case. I watched like all the documentaries about that.
You guys,
let me tell you something.
Oh, okay. No, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No, I was just gonna say.
I was gonna do the same thing, but change the case. But if you're gonna talk about JonBenet Ramsey, then go for it.
Well, that happened. What, 96, right?
Yes.
Christmas night. That happened when my son was like 2 months old, and I was at home a lot then when he was a little baby, not working, and I followed everything on it. I'm gonna tell you something. My opinion, after watching everything, the brother did it.
I think so too.
There is no way he's got something going on, and I think he snapped, and I think he didn't mean for it to happen.
And I think the parents
And
covered it up.
And
I
they
think the mom wrote the
covered.
ransom note. Yeah.
Yep, 100%. You know what? We should solve murder mysteries.
So I'll give you one.
I
That's
really
a
feel like we
local
should.
one that's made national news, and it made
Okay.
national news not because of the necessarily the tragedy itself, but because of how the case ended up. So you guys should look up Garrett Phillips. He was an 11-year-old boy who was murdered in his home. I think he was strangled to death in a town 10 minutes away from me. And his mother's ex-boyfriend was one of the very few black men in town. And so it turned into a very racial case where everybody just like jumped on it with no proper evidence. The way that the police handled it and questioned him, like basically like he came in to give voluntary, answer the questions voluntarily, and they like wouldn't let him leave, wouldn't let him get his phone back. There was like all these things to it that just handled the case improperly, right? And it's incredible how this case has rolled out. And this happened back in like 2012, I think. And it's still a mystery to this day. Nobody knows who murdered him. But HBO did a documentary special, and I highly recommend, if you have HBO, to check it out.
I think it's saved in my HBO history to watch.
I highly suggest watching it. There's so many things that so it involves, so the guy who was who was being accused is an alum of my school that I went to and all that kind of stuff. And at one point you see like one of our board of trustee members like kind of helping him out and getting his legal team was a lot of alums, and some of them were his friends and who went to the school as well. So there's like, it's just kind of weird. Like there's so many connections to like stuff that's like really personal to me too in there. So it's really interesting to see this area that I grew up in, because what's important is to understand that my area is very homogenous. It's very rural. It's very white. The only people of color are either in the military, like an hour and a half away on an army base, or we have multiple prisons in the area. So a lot of times there are people who are inmates that are coming from other places in New York State that happen to be more urban, or there's more diversity. But as we know, specifically Black men are incarcerated at a much higher rate than any other race in America. So of course that only adds to what people experience when it comes to race up here. So it's a very interesting, like there's so many aspects to this where it's like we have very limited information about what happened, but at the same time there's so many things about how we handled it afterwards that, like, my personal theory on it is that it was likely another kid their age, because they assumed that the person escaped through a second-story window.
Oh my
and
God.
You would have heard someone larger fall. And I think that what they're going to find out is like there was something that was either play or sexual or something that went wrong and the kids split. That's my thought process, but there's like no DNA evidence at this point that's like really suggestive. So it's all interesting. Highly suggest checking it out.
Speaking of jumping from a second story, I don't know if I've told you guys this before, but I'm related to one of the world's most well-known assassins.
Oh my
Have
God.
I told you this?
No.
Yeah. So I am related to John Wilkes Booth, the person who shot and killed Abraham
all
Lincoln.
Makes sense now. No.
Coming togetger.
Yeah. So so my grandmother like actually knows like where he's buried, because he's like my great whatever, however many greats uncle. But he's in like an unmarked grave somewhere, just because like people would like trash the grave if they knew where it was. Of course, like we don't support what he did. That's I feel like I need to say that. But yeah, so I am related to John Wilkes Booth.
Wow, that is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd rather be related to him than, Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yes.
There's quite a few people that, yeah. There's, so an interesting story for my family is my great uncle was one of New York City's like best eye surgeons. And I think it was like in the 80s, maybe in the 70s. I don't know when it was specifically. He would come home after a long day, fix himself a martini or two, have a good night kind of thing, and he got a call.
This is so funny. Sorry.
What?
I thought you were going to say before you said assassin, I thought you were going to say I'm related to Jeffrey Dahmer or some crazy shit. I didn't know what you were going to say.
No. Sorry, Beth, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Beth.
No, you're fine. So one night he gets a call after he's a couple martinis deep, and they said, you're being requested to come in and perform surgery. And he was like, I'm lit. I can't come in. They were like, no, you don't understand. You really don't have a choice. He was like, I can't perform surgery. And they said, John Gotti is asking you to come in. His son was stabbed in the eye and he needs surgery right now.
You better sober up.
And so they said, and then there was like a doorbell like ring or whatever. And they said, we have your car available for you now. And he looked down, there's like a huge limo to bring him to the hospital to like do it. So he performed surgery, everything went well. But just what an interesting story.
Yeah.
Wow. And he fixed the eye intoxicated?
Yeah,
well,
I don't know like
how
drunk he was, but the fact that he like, he'd had a martini or two and they were like, they don't care. They want you down there now. And like,
yes,
like say no to
don't
John
move.
Gotti.
I'm going to fix it. Hold on.
Stop moving. I think everything turned out well. And I think for years afterwards, every once in a while, like on anniversaries of, like he and his wife's anniversary, he might get like, flowers from a friend, things like that. So, that was the only thing, but like, so weird to just think about that.
Well,
I feel like we talked about like so many like paranormal and like murderous things.
I'm not related to anyone.
We were going to have a positive evening, like we were gonna share stories about positivity.
I'll change the description. Don't worry. I'm going to change the description because I have managed to flip myself out today. Like I have mentally done things to myself in the last 24 hours that is just ridiculous. Like like my son came over today and I'm sorry, he went grocery shopping in my kitchen because that's what you children do. And he, in his growing, we gave him a Christmas tree and, I almost told him about this movie, but I didn't because he would freak out. He would go watch it and he would be worse off than me, which I probably shouldn't be saying this about Spider-Man being scared, but
Well, I want to switch the topic because, and I asked approval first before, but I wanted to say a congrats to you, Allison, because you posted on Facebook, was it today or yesterday, that you reached, it was yesterday, Allison has reached 3 years of sobriety. And to accomplish that, like during like all of like COVID and everything, like what a test. But I just want everybody here to congratulate Allison because that is a tough thing to do. And I just want you to be recognized for all of that hard work that you've done for yourself and your family. And I hope that you feel that your life is better. Yes. Sober in here and everything, and we love and appreciate you, and we are very proud of your hard work.
Well, I love you guys, and thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I have to say that everything changed in my life once I really it's been a battle for me since I turned 30. it didn't hit me early in life like it does some people. It hit me late in life. And so from 30 till 33 and 34, you know, it was up and down and really bad. And then I would stick to it for a really long time. And then I would have a sip of wine or something here and there and think it's okay. And it's not for me. That's my choice. That's not everyone's choice. Everyone handles their addiction differently. And so I kind of had to sit back. A year ago, I went to a wedding in Louisiana with my parents. My cousin got married and they were passing champagne around. And I drank a glass of champagne and then I started to drink another one. And I thought to myself, why am I doing this? You know, what is making it okay? What excuses in my mind? You know, what part of my brain cannot understand that I cannot handle a sip? It is not possible. It destroys my life. And I really did some soul searching, and I've always been serious about it, but this is the longest stretch I've ever gone through without anything. And I mean, it really, you guys would not have liked me back in those days. I was not a good, I don't want to judge myself too harshly, but you know, I'm walking through McDonald's drive-through at 3:00 in the morning trying to get a McDouble, okay, across the street from the Salty Dog Bar.
What I currently do for filth here. So just saying, some of us walk through the McDonald's drive-through at 3 a.m. sober.
Listen, I'm not the only one who's done it. I'm just the only one in my group that admits it. And you know, everyone, I've never, oh honey, don't even get me started on some things. But anyway, you know, you really have to cut people out that are like, oh, you're fine. It's just a couple. No, it's not. Like, I basically started over with friends, with life from scratch. And I had to actually cut out people who had nothing to do with it, but still reminded me of that former life. And so it's just, it really is, it was a true kind of cleansing of everything. And everything good started. It's like my quote said, you know, the movie doesn't end when the guy becomes sober. That's when the movie starts. And you can tell your story. And I've been writing short stories about my life since, I've been in rehab. I'm not going to lie. September 2011, I did a little stint there. I was inpatient for 5 days and outpatient for 3 months. You know, I mean, I did the whole thing. And I was flying high. I was, well, not really high, but you know what I mean? I was really doing I was great. And then I fell off and I got back and it was just this teeter-totter shit. And I don't know, but you just have to, I don't know. I don't know what advice to give. I had to do it cold turkey, 100%. And some people can do it. Some people can. Some people can drink here and there and they're okay. That's not who I am. But like I said, I had to start my whole life over, and I'm not trying to get on a soapbox, and I'm not going to talk about it too much longer.
Well, I think it's an important thing because you're not alone in that. And there's a lot of people who are silent sufferers, and there's a lot of people who are, you know, are happy to share their stories and such. And people benefit from those that have the ability and the strength to share their stories. So starting over is hard, but it is so great. And sharing your story you're not just looking for kudos for yourself, which by the way, you 100% deserve. But you're this is so much bigger than you. It's like, this is a disease. Okay. This is a health issue. Addiction is a health issue. It's not a criminal issue. And this is something I feel very passionately about. So when I see my friends succeed, it's like they've beaten cancer. You know what I mean? So I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy that you feel like you've been able to empower yourself. That's the best thing that you can ask for in life, is to feel like you have been able to get everything that you want and need because of you. And that's powerful. And thank you for sharing that. And thank you for allowing us to celebrate you, because you deserve it as well.
Well, thank you.
I mean, you never know, Allison. Like, somebody listening, watching could be somebody that's struggling with it right now and like needs that motivation. So thank you for being a good role model for all of us.
You guys send me an email, memphisdarling@gmail.com. If you're struggling with anything, shoot me an email. We'll talk about it. I will talk to anybody. I have experienced a lot, real early in my life. And, I really had to go places I didn't want to go and address things I had blocked and forgotten about to figure out what was going on. And it takes a lot to really dig, and you tear yourself down to build yourself back up. And, there's always like, why am I doing this? What is going on? Like, what is it? And when you find it and you get it under control, you're okay. You're going to be okay. I'm telling you, man, the first 2 weeks are the hardest. And then it gets easier and easier. It's kind of like a bad breakup. It's like, oh my God, the worst 2 weeks of my life. And then you slowly, okay, this person's not going to call me back. This person isn't going to text me. I'm going to be okay. One more day. Okay, I'm great. You're fine. You're okay. But yeah, it's funny because, like I told you earlier, someone reached out to me and they tried to turn my positive experience into a negative experience. And then there was someone who reached out to me and they said, don't take this the wrong way, but you don't look like someone who is an alcoholic. And I said, well, we come in all shapes and sizes and colors, so like a rainbow. There isn't a stereo. Unfortunately, there is, but there isn't, to me, a dress code, a skin color. There isn't a, listen, I've been to AAs, man. We're all over the place. Okay. We all look different. I'm not, I don't know, the things that I've done, I can't believe I'm still alive. And you just, but there's always somebody, if you don't want to talk to me, there's somebody out there, and you're going to lose people along the way. And that's fine. Those people weren't meant to be there. And there are people from my life back then who refused to acknowledge my sobriety and refuse to move forward and still speak to me and treat me as if I'm that person. And, and that's their journey. That's not my journey.
Yeah.
I still treat them with respect, and I'm not, I'm not going to go there. But, it is what it is. Anyway, so everybody has to tell one positive story before we sign off. One positive story.
Let's see.
Tyler, we know you got unique minutes. Go ahead, Beth.
True.
Okay. So one of the things that we had discussed ahead of time was when we were thinking about doing sharing stories about positivity. We were going to tell stories of things that we've done for other people or what other people have done for us. And one story that I think about a lot, I've told a few people this isn't the main one I was thinking of. I'll save the other one for another time, but that's one I haven't shared with anybody that I've done for somebody. But something that I want to share because I think about it a lot, not because of what I did, but I think about how the other person must be now. Is I used to live across the street from a convenience store. This is when I lived in Albany, New York. And I walked in and there was a girl who was using the payphone, and she was obviously upset, and she was trying really hard to like keep her voice low. And I was, looking for chips or something like that, some kind of snack. And I looked over and she kept saying something like, please don't hang up. I need a ride. Like, please don't hang up or something like that. And then clearly the person that she was talking to hung up. So then she was counting on her change, and it was clear she didn't have enough money. And so I went up to her and I just said, hey, are you okay? And she said, no, my parents won't let me come home. And I said, are you in trouble? And she said, I don't have a place to stay tonight, and I don't have a car, and I just used my last couple of cents that I could afford for a phone call. And I said, okay, do you want me to look up like a shelter or something for you for the night? And she said, sure. So I looked up and I found a shelter for her. And I said, would it be okay if I bought you a cab so that you could get there? And she said, sure. So I ordered a cab, and then I had $40 on me. And I said, just here's $40. Use it for what you need. If you need to buy food or whatever. I don't give a shit. I'm one of those people that, like, I don't care if I end up giving that money and they blow it on drugs or whatever. I don't care. because more often than not, that person is not going to do that. They're going to use it for what they need. And if that's what they blow it on, that was their personal choice. But I still tried to be a human in that situation. And that really affected me because I am so blessed and privileged that I have a family that if I was in trouble, they'd allow me to come home. If I was in trouble, there's no situation. Even in the middle, I could come home with COVID right now. My parents will open their door to me. And that has affected me in so many ways. And I think that those kind of people are all around us all the time. So I'm not sitting there. I don't want praise for what I did. I did what I did and I would do it again. I want us to really think about who are the people around us and keep an eye out, because there are people who are like that, who they just might need some advice. In that situation, she didn't have a place to go. I thought of a shelter, and that was the only thing I could think of at that time. I looked it up on my phone. I got her a cab. There you go. But if you keep your eyes open, I think on a daily basis, there's something you can do to help somebody else in a random act of kindness. And so that's what I wanted to share tonight. I ultimately think that's a very positive story, but it's something that stuck with me in both a positive and negative way.
That's what makes you such a beautiful person, is that you took the time to do that. And I really feel your story because, you know, for some reason, helping those who really need it like that, something in your body, just when you do it, it's like, this is the right thing to do. And you know when it is. Like, I was going to tell the Christmas tree, but I donated a Christmas tree to a 97-year-old woman, and she loves it. But the thing about it is, there was an incident, and I told you guys about this a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I was in the mall, and there was a guy who, something was wrong. Something was off. He had a note around his neck. He was handicapped. He said he was mentally handicapped, and he just lost his job. And the bus that he rides, he gets to ride, like, it takes him places, and like, he doesn't have to pay for it because he's mentally disabled, and he had some other issues, but he got to go places, but he couldn't pay for anything. And he was really hungry, and he had lost his job, and he spent all his, he said, I just want to eat something. He's like, please. And people were walking by this guy, looking, not even paying any attention to him. And I had my hands full with bags, and I saw him, and I looked, and I went out to my car, and I put all my stuff up. I pulled some money out of my purse, and I walked right in. And I looked at his thing, and I read it, and I'm like, are you really hungry? What do you want? And he's like, I just want something to eat. I don't care what it is. Can you please help me? So we went in the food court, and I bought him something to eat. And I'm like, you have a ride home? He's like, yeah. I gave him $10 extra. I said, please take this. Use it sparingly. I'm going to pray for you that Jesus is with you, and just accept his blessings in whatever form. We don't know, like the Rolling Stones say, you don't always get what you want, but you get what you need. And in that moment, I was feeling sorry for myself, walking around the mall thinking I had it worse than anyone else. And then that happened, and it woke me up. Like, Allison, shut the fuck up. And so, and just, I wish I could have done more for him. And I haven't seen that guy since, And I just,
well, I'm sure he thinks back to that day a lot, like, regardless of like where he is in life right now, I'm sure that he remembers that act of kindness from you.
And I hate it when I hear people say, oh, it's a scam. Like, whatever, just ignore them. They don't, whatever. They're all over the place. My intuition is never wrong. And with this guy, something told me, help him. Yeah. And I did not like the way he was being treated. Okay. Yeah. People with mental handicaps, they do rely on the state, and they do have the state funding them. But this guy had a job trying to take care of himself, and he lost it because of COVID. And he just needed help, just extra help. Yeah. And that's it. don't assume everyone who's asking for something. Do you know how horrible it is to Cinderella Man, Russell Crowe? Go watch that movie. Okay. This guy humbles himself to where he's walking around a room with a hat out asking for money just so he could feed his family. Go watch that movie. Next.
Yeah. So I when I first moved to New York City, I worked at Apple for 3 years. One of the best jobs, probably the best job I've ever had in my life, because I just like can't say enough good things about the company. But I will say that like when I was there, like whenever like an elderly person would come in, I would see like all the employees be like, oh gosh, like this is going to be like, it's going to take so long, like explaining something so simple, like that kind of thing. And I would see people like avoid like older people that like came in just looking for help. And so I quickly became known as like the person to help the elderly out. And I always saw it as like a fun challenge to like teach them something new, but also to show them that like, kids like our age, and I say kids like we're adults, but like
you're a child,
people our age, like we can learn so much from elderly people and their experiences. So when I was in college, I got a minor in gerontology, which is like the study of like older people, and I did my senior project for graphic design around like seniors and their stories and what we can learn from them.
I need to hear more about this someday.
And I just really, I connect with older people. I really, really enjoy their company. And I just think that like we could do a lot more to bridge the gap between generations, because I feel like both generations say to one another, like, they don't understand what we're going through. Like they have no connection to us. And that's just simply not true. And like, so I learned very quickly in gerontology that like older people, when they're like making a fuss in like stores or restaurants or something, it's quite honestly a lot of times because they are just so alone that like they're so like in need of social interaction with somebody that they will like create an argument just to like get that interaction back with somebody. Like think about it like in The Sims, like when like their social bar is like in red, like that's kind of like what it is. And I just feel so bad that like it takes so much effort for this like elderly man to like put on his clothes, like take the subway, come to Apple, to be treated like that by employees. That's like wrong to me. And so I would spend like an hour with this guy, like just showing him how to download like the CBS app to play Hawaii Five-0. Like that's like all he came in to ask, and it was so hard for him to figure out.
I can relate.
When you say him, are you talking about Allison?
I can relate. Listen, you need to spend some time with me, Tyler.
Yeah, but like it's like everybody was just so focused on like, oh, we're not getting a sale out of this guy, like who cares? But like that's not what it's about, because I guarantee you like that, like him going to Apple to like ask how to like download CBS, that was probably like the biggest event of his entire week, was going out to do that. And so just to think about like elderly people and like how much they need our help, how much they need our interaction and care and patience, because here's the thing, if we're lucky, we're all going to be there someday, right?
Oh, yeah,
like we are going to be the older people someday asking these kids like, how do we do this? But the point I'm making is like, just be kind to older people, like they're not like the stereotype of like the cranky old person. I guarantee you, if you just show them like time and respect, like they will flip that switch so much, and they will really love you, embrace you, because you are like the opposite of like what everybody else our age treats elderly people. So that's my lesson for today.
I love that. That's so true.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
I've had quite a blessing in my job. I get to work with alumni of all different ages, but I often work with older alumni, and there's one alumna who's from the class of 1945. So she's in her 90s.
Love it.
I went and visited her at the retirement home that she lives in, and I had such a fun time just sitting there and like shooting the shit with this woman who had so much love for the school that we both went to, that I work for, all this other stuff. And it was just amazing to have that kind of opportunity. And I think a lot of we haven't figured out how you should treat old people. We haven't figured out what should happen with older people when they get to a point where they have to rely on others again. And I really hope that we figure that out. I hope our generation is the one that figures it out, not for us, but for our parents and for the grandparents that are still left. And there's a lot of people out there, and we're living longer and longer and longer. And you don't just become inhuman once you reach a certain age. And you deserve to be treated with love and respect, and know that you're a valid human, even in
absolutely. I feel like I should share like my book like on here like at some point, because like I made like a whole photo book of like, well, I took these like really great photos of like all these elderly people. I think I interviewed like 20 total.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I put in like stories of like lessons that like we can learn from the stories that they've shared. And you know, some of these elderly people have passed away, and I've like the families have reached out to me to send them the photos like for the funeral, because like those were like the last like good photos that were taken of them and stuff. But it's so like, it really gives you a good perspective on life, like hanging out and interacting with these elderly people who just are like rich with just like wisdom and experience. And it really just puts into perspective like what's really important, and how like the like Instagram influencer bullshit is like so like empty. You know what I mean? Like it's so meaningless. It's so like, I feel like I'm going on a tangent now, but
no, you're fine.
And that's why those people should be cast on reality shows. And
I'm telling you, we need more Jerrys. And I'll be honest with you, I'm getting very cranky myself these days. So I feel like I'm in the geriatric book. I should be in the book. But, just saying.
One other thing I wanted to share, I'm just like super thankful that, so I had my last wedding of the season this past weekend. And so the venue that the wedding was at was one of my very first weddings I shot, like, or I shadowed for somebody else like 10 years ago. And it was just like a really cool, like full circle moment to like be back there for the first time in like 10 years, when like I was like a nervous wreck. I had no idea what I was doing. So scared to like talk to like the groomsmen, like that kind of thing. And now I'm like doing my own booking with my own business and stuff like that. And I just, I wanted to share this one photo that I edited today that I just like really loved. I'm going to put it on the screen now. But like
the Titanic.
Looking at like this compared to like the shit I was taking like 10 years ago, it's just like a really cool moment of reflection for me, when like this year has been really shitty for like not being able to shoot a lot of weddings and stuff like that. But I'm really glad that I got to end this year's what was left of the season on like a really nice like full circle moment, because I'm going into next year the busiest year, like the most booked year I've ever had.
People are making up for this year.
Yeah, and I feel like it's just like getting me pumped up for what's to come. So super thankful for that too.
You have obviously just grown as a photographer, and even just the little things that you asked us to look at a few months ago to what you're having us look at now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you do consistently gorgeous work, but it is just fun to see, you know, how you're growing, you know. So
thank you.
Keep up the wonderful work.
It's so funny to me, because when I met you 2.5 years ago, you weren't free like you are now. You weren't doing your own thing like you were now. I don't even think you were working for Apple. I think you were working in a furniture store.
No, I was working at a graphic design photo booth company, and then I quit and worked at Crane Barrel for a little bit.
That's it, because all we talked about was freaking Crane Barrel for a while. Okay, I can let you furniture a townhouse with Crane Barrel. Anyway,
I was moving furniture at like 6 a.m. It was exhausting.
But it's so funny, because now it's like you have grown and you're doing this whole thing by yourself, and you should be very proud. Look, everything is an accomplishment, whether it's sobriety or starting your own business. Everything takes time. If you're trying to sprint in a marathon, you're going to fall every time and you're going to have to start over. The one piece of advice I could give anyone on this planet, and I'm constantly beating this into my child's head, patience.
Yeah.
Patience. We live in a century of instant gratification where I get it now. I get it now. Baby, I couldn't Google Blair Witch Project in 1999, see if that shit was real. Okay, I had to wait and watch Entertainment Tonight and E-News Daily. I mean, I didn't know. And so it's just, you really just stop and appreciate things. And I've kind of, I've tried to kind of take a step back a little bit from social media and just play around with pictures and posts on Instagram, do my little thing. But, it's just take a step back and be patient. If you want to start your own company, be patient. If you're drunk and you're 3 days into your sobriety, it's only 3 days. I'll take another drink. That clock always restarts. But be patient with yourself. You're not perfect. You're going to make mistakes. Okay? Just acknowledge what you're doing and move forward. It is, just do your thing. Just do it. I mean, you're like, you could be doing this every week. Then where would you be? you would have to deal with me every week. Who wants to do this? It takes a special kind of person, like, look at you, like these two, to deal with me. And Captain Obvious and Spider-Man and everybody else.
Yeah.
Listen, do your own thing, but also subscribe to my weekly meltdown.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, what a segue. We're such whores. Yes, please subscribe to my weekly meltdown on YouTube. And then become
a patron. Yes.
On Patreon/my weekly meltdown. And follow the Facebook page that I only update when we have a show. And our Instagram page that I need to update as well. And that's about it. Go watch Megan is Missing 2011. Look it up. You guys know how to watch movies without, what you're doing. Don't ask me how. I can't find it on Prime Video. You know.
So I talked to just to close this out, because this is something I think we're starting to plan a little bit. So we want to get the feelers for, Netflix put on Survivor seasons 20 and seasons 28 on Netflix, and I keep seeing on TikTok and it's number 7 trending on Netflix right now, which is very impressive considering the seasons are pretty old at this point. But I think that we should cover heroes versus villains. That's my official vote. I'm putting it on air. I feel like people are going to be looking for new content about Survivor heroes versus villains, not videos that were recorded 10 years ago covering it. So I think that's something we should get into. But I want to hear in the comments and especially our patrons. I want to hear what you guys think about that, or maybe covering another season of Survivor. My official vote is for heroes versus villains, but we're definitely open to hearing any suggestions from our patrons too.
Absolutely. We didn't cover that, did we? Did we cover heroes versus villains?
No, that was
which one did we
10 years ago.
Oh, that was 10 years. Then what did we cover? It wasn't hero versus, but it was something similar. It was
Winners
something
of War.
else. Yeah. See? Thank God I'm here.
Yes.
God, I'm here to keep Tyler on his toes.
It'll be like Allison's watching it for the first time.
It probably will. I probably missed that season. Who knows? I'm all for it.
Yeah. So I think we're going to start planning that. So look out for any announcements coming up on the next week or two. But especially if you're a patron, we want to hear from you. What do you think about that? If you want to come on a show to talk about heroes versus villains with us, we would love for you guys to join us in talking about that as well. Sandra's infamous second win, all of that fun stuff. I think that's it.
Sandra won again?
Okay, so you just spoiled it for everyone who hasn't seen Heroes versus Villains from 10 years ago.
Listen, if it's over 10 years old, I think there's no spoiler warning at this point. But I mean, let's be real, Parvati should have won anyway. But I can't wait to talk about all of that stuff. That's it for me. Is there anything else to plug?
Well, speaking of stuff to cover, I just wanted to address. Yeah, we talk about doing like a episode where we watch an episode of Drag Race and then talk about it or something, or
Yeah.
we
I
could do
will
that.
glad.
Beth will have to walk us through that because like neither
Yeah.
of us have seen any
I don't-
episode of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Never.
So my thought process had been if there was ever a couple of weeks where we wanted to cover Drag Race, what I would do is give you, similar to when we would watch 3 episodes of Big Brother, we would do like 3 episodes at a time
Yeah.
of Drag Race because it's a shorter season. It's only like 12 episodes in that area. So, but I would choose season 6, which is widely considered to be the best season there is. In terms of regular seasons. Then you get into All-Star seasons. That's a very separate thing. But I would choose All-Star 6, and I would more than happily like lead you on that journey.
Yeah.
Because
I'm for it.
Very corny. Some of it's very campy. Some of it's a lot of wonderful gay culture stuff. And then a lot of it is just some pretty interesting drama. That kind of stuff. It's really good times.
That's what I'm about. Drama. I'm all about the drama. Speaking of which, another show that people have been asking if we're going to cover Sequester. We are not covering Sequester season 4. I'm sorry to say. This is because I've been part of Sequester for 5 years, and I have yet to sit back and enjoy a season as a viewer. So I'm going to be selfish, and I'm sitting this one out. We're all 3 going to sit it out, and we're just going to watch it like you guys do. And if it comes up during our weekly show, it comes up. If you have any questions, we'll touch whatever. But I think for now, we're just going to let the RHAPs and all the other popular podcasts cover Sequester right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of amazing coverage about Sequester,
Yeah.
whether it's like Taryn with RHAP or Podquester. Those are like the 2 that like come to mind. So we want to watch it with you guys and just kind of like kick back and especially since like Brent's going to be on this season, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so that's why we're not covering Sequester. We just kind of want to like enjoy it and focus on other things, like especially since we're going to be talking about Survivor, we're going to be talking about RuPaul's Drag Race, and we have our BS breakdown show. Our calendar's like pretty full right now, so that's why we're kind of taking a step back from that.
So we're just going to do whatever, and
we're also going to.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Beth. Okay. All right. Well, I was just saying, I'm gonna stop putting
My
descriptions
internet connection's
in
really
the
bad
BS
right
show
now.
because we never stick to the freaking subject.
Yeah,
And it's my fault. It's my fault. Let's see here. I think that's about it. Yeah, Joseph said Taryn is covering it since Brent is playing. Reality Realness is covering it. So yeah, you guys go check them out and they'll be more than happy to cover that for you. I think that is about it for this week's show. Man, Chris just texted me and say he's going to be home even later.
A quick thank you to all of our patrons.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got to do a patron show, and we
Yes.
got to do another brain steal show. I need a brain steal. I need another brain steal show.
Yes. So we will be planning all of that stuff too. Stay patient with us. We're kind of like trying to figure it out, but we will have something for our patrons exclusively soon. We want to thank everybody for their continued support.
Yes.
We've really enjoyed Patreon so far, and we really want to start giving you guys more back as like a thank you for supporting us and all of that fun stuff. So definitely check us out there. And I think that's pretty much it.
And for all of you people who love Law and Order SVU as much as I do, season premiere comes on tonight.
I didn't know that show was still on. All right.
Like Tyler, you talk about how sweet you are to old.
Oh, Allison got muted. Oh gosh, I don't know how that happened. All right. Well, everybody have a great rest of your evening. We will see you guys again soon, and have a great rest of your night. Bye. Allison, you're unmuted now.
Am I unmuted? How dare you?
Yes. All right. Goodbye.